How's it going, everybody? Chaotic Meatball here, and welcome back to the channel. So, I've been on a roll with these BDSP Hardcore Nuzlocke as of late, though I'm only at a 50% win rate, so I'm back once again, this time with the Psychic type. There's actually a decent amount of Psychic type encounters available in this game in Abra, the choice of Mew or Jirachi, Chingling, Meditite, Ralts, Bronzor, Mime Jr., Unknown, Girafarig, and Smoochum, so we've got a decent amount of Pokemon to work with, and a good amount of subtypes, with Steel, Fighting, Fairy, Normal, and Ice being available. I can see this working very well. The rules are on screen and in the description, as they're fairly standard across all Hardcore Nuzlockes. Leave some early predictions on how well you think this run is going to go in the comments below, and before I get into it, I just want to tell you guys that I'll be streaming live on Twitch immediately after this video goes live at twitch.tv/chaoticmeatballtv, link on screen and in the description. I'm trying to become a Twitch partner, and I've got to maintain well over a 75 viewer average, so it would be appreciated if you stopped in and checked out the creation of a Professor Oaks challenge. I'll give you a second to open up that link in a new tab. Anyway, let's get into the run. So, of course, none of our starters evolve into a Psychic-type Pokemon, meaning my first encounter isn't until after the first berry fight on Route 103. Abra is here, which can't learn an attacking move and only has Teleport. Well, the level cap is 14, so I guess I can't do the run, right? Well, I kinda have to bend the rules here. Since Abra is the only Psychic type available before Rourke, I'm going to have to make the level cap 16, giving Abra the ability to evolve into Kadabra and to have an attacking move in Confusion. I nicknamed mine Celestial since I'm once again on a Yu-Gi-Oh kick, and with Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer being recently released in the TCG, why not name these guys after Destiny Heroes? So after a wee bit of training with Piplup up to level 16 in the Orberg Mine, Abra evolves in Kadabra and is ready for the battle against Rourke. Training in the Orberg Mine should give me enough defense EVs to survive at least one attack from his sturdy Onix, so let's see how this goes. Rourke starts out with the Geodude, which Kadabra easily outspeeds and KOs with a single Confusion. Great start, but with Onix out, this has sturdy, so I can't one-shot it. Kadabra does outspeed though, meaning he's only able to land one attack, which he chooses Rock Throw, doing only around 25% damage as he heals with a potion next turn, but not fully, allowing a second Confusion to pick up the KO, leaving just Granados. This one's a one I'm a bit worried about since Confusion doesn't one-shot here. I'm open to an attack, which he chooses Bulldoze, rocking Kadabra for around 50% damage and lowering my speed. However, he's guaranteed to use his second potion here, so I just click Confusion one more time without worrying about the speed drop, picking up the KO, and winning the match. I guess the increase of level cap was warranted. Now let's do the rest of the run Hardcore Nuzlocke style, no rule bending. Fortunately for me, there's a second Psychic type I can grab before going into the Galactic event in Valley Windworks, and that's the choice between Mew and Jirachi here in Floaroma Town. I chose Jirachi since it's an offensive Steel Psychic type, and it's probably going to be more helpful than a sheer Psychic type will add onto the team. We'll have plenty of that thanks to Kadabra and eventually Chimecho. I nickname it Denier since this thing better deny my opponent some KOs because I'm not really having much in terms of a tank on this team until I eventually get Bronzor. Despite Jirachi only being level 5 at first, it's immediately able to stand on its own, taking out all of the trainers I had skipped and training in the grass in front of the Valley Windworks to prepare for Mars and her relatively scary Purugly, getting to level 15 in the process. Mars' Zubat isn't any threat as a lead, so I just take it out with Jirachi's Confusion, leaving just the Purugly. I went for Wish immediately, expecting to have to alternate between that and Confusion to offset the power of Purugly's super effective Thief, but it turns out I was worrying for nothing, seeing as it barely does any damage, and the first Confusion ends up confusing Purugly, putting me in a wonderful spot to destroy her after her Oranberry activates, taking her out in a few shots and letting me progress forward. Route 205's not too bad, and I still get a kick out of not having to do any double battles here in the Eterna Forest, sheerly because diagonal movement exists. Once again, I'm out of here, able to grab myself the Explorer Kit from Eterna City, going down and going into the water biome as an encounter is there in Ralts. It's a female, so unfortunately I won't have the option to get Gallade, but that's fine. A Psychic Fairy Gardevoir should be able to help me through this game quite nicely. I nickname it Dasher, putting me closer to finishing out the final team. Gardenia's trainers are no match for my Jirachi, so let's just take her out herself. Heck, I didn't even train up to the level cap. Instead, I just went in Jirachi for the whole fight, giving my Pokemon an assortment of cherry and orange berries before the battle. She leads off with Cherubi, barely doing anything with a dazzling gleam as Confusion is able to two-shot it, leading to Turtwig. It wastes its only turn that it has with Reflect, and since Jirachi has no physical attacks, no need to worry as Confusion KOs in 2 shots, leaving just Roserade. As her only part poison type, this should be a piece of cake, but it actually isn't. Despite my Cherry Berry restoring Jirachi from her first Stun Spore, Confusion only does a wee bit over a third of her HP, and then she outspeeds once again, landing a second one, then starts laying into me with Petal Blizzard. For some reason, Jirachi just kept getting held down by paralysis here, enough to where I was considering swapping for Kadabra and hoping I'd survive a Petal Blizzard or swap in on a Grass Knot to KO with Confusion, but fortunately for me, Jirachi managed to power through it enough times, KOing with 2 more Confusions and giving me the win. I guess I really shouldn't be trying to go fast, but not having to grind here does save me a bit of hassle when it comes to avoiding trainers for the next 2 gyms and their pesky coinciding level caps. With that said and done, I made sure to grab 3 more encounters, Chingling from Route 211, which I named Dreamer, Metatite from Mount Coronet, naming it Dunker, and Smoochum from the Crystal Biome in the Grand Underground, lastly naming it Dynatag. Then EV training over in the Old Chateau on Ghastly for 5 out of my 6 Pokemon to get special attack EVs. The only physical attacker I have is Metatite, and it's probably all I really need. The option of Gallade would have been appreciated, but I can live with this. All of this EV training is in preparation for Jupiter, who has the Poison Dark Skuntank. Despite Poison not really being a threat for Jirachi, that Skuntank also has Flamethrower, which really is, so I've got to level up enough to where I don't accidentally screw up the level cap, but so nothing goes down. At the very least, her only Dark-type move is Snarl, so I won't have to worry about swapping Kadabra into anything, as it has a reasonable special defense. Speaking of which, this is the second of 3 runs that I've used Pokemon that fully evolve using trades. Do you guys think I should allow the trade evolutions, or are you more entertained by the lack of communication with other games? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, after a good bit of grinding in the Old Chateau, it's time to give Jupiter the visit. She leads off with Zubat here, like her red-haired counterpart, which goes down to Kirlia's Psybeam, leaving just Skuntank. I know that keeping Kirlia out here will bait out Poison Gas, giving me a free Draining Kiss, doing around a 4th as I swap next turn, expecting an Acid Spray for super effective damage, but upon the swap into Jirachi, she predicts it and goes for Flamethrower, burning my Jirachi on switch-in, and I don't even have access to a Rostberry to prevent this from happening. Fortunately, I'm able to sort of resolve this by alternating between Wish and Life Dew, running Skuntank out of Flamethrower while getting in the occasional Swift in. What can I say? I simply outskilled my opponent by having moves that are the equivalent of a Mystic Mind Lock in Pokemon. See you later, Jupiter. You're gonna need some more luck next time. Anyway, between here and Hearthome, there's not really anything to do other than Cyrus going on a bit of a verbal tirade, but I don't have to fight him, so in Hearthome, I'm able to do the rival battle with Barry before heading towards Veilstone. He leads off with Starly, an easy one-shot with Jirachi's Confusion, leading to Buizel, who also falls to the same fate. Ponyta is the first Pokemon not to go down to a single Confusion, but it wastes time with Tail Whip instead of a Fire-type move for super effective damage, leading to its demise with a second Confusion, leaving just Grottle. Confusion does just shy of half, meaning it's a 3-shot, giving him time to set up Curse, but it's not really going to help much when Steel resists Grass moves, letting me just spam 3 Confusions to take it out and win the match. Can't say anything else, the end of the run is coming soon, since Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Dazzling Gleam, and many other TMs are coming soon. And by soon, I mean immediately. I skipped as many trainers as I physically could between here and Veilstone, getting there quickly and giving me a new task. Recently, a duplication glitch was discovered that could both clone Pokemon and items, and while I'm not allowing myself to use duplicate Pokemon, I am able to grab one of each vitamin from the Veilstone market and head back to Salacion Town to EV train my Pokemon a bit faster than I could normally, so it's quite useful in terms of saving me time. Not to mention, I also picked up a rare candy a while back, so I no longer need to waste time grinding, allowing me to skip threatening trainers and still reach the level cap without threat, though edging will still require some time. The only thing I sort of forgot about doing at this point was duplicating the Mind Plate, since technically I can mine these out of the Grand Underground, so they're technically a unlimited item, so I'll have to make sure to go back for that. But after a few hours of this, all of my current Pokemon are EV trained, and I have enough money to go back and buy those TMs from the market, grabbing multiple Psychic, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Dazzling Gleam, Protect, Reflect, and Light Screen TMs among others. These are all going to come in handy later, and I'm very grateful for this being a bit faster to do than it was in my first 2 runs. Anyway, we're going straight into Maylene's gym, since after all, a Steel Psychic type should hold up amazingly against her team. Obviously, Maylene's Meditite and Machoke are both one-shots with Jirachi's Psychic, leaving just Lucario. Now, this thing only has Drain Punch and Metal Claws attacks, so both are resisted by Jirachi, giving me a free 2-shot on Lucario with Psychic, winning me the Cobble Badge in simple and clean fashion. Wake's gym is actually even smoother than that, since you know what Pokemon can learn both Grass Knot and Thunderbolt on my team? Jirachi, so all I have to do is Thunderbolt Gyarados, Grass Knot Quagsire, and Thunderbolt Floatzel, winning the match in 3 turns. Also, I remembered to turn on battle animations. May as well leave these on because I'm gonna forget if I turn them off again. Oh hey Barry, why are you trying to hold me back from taking this Team Galactic grunt to Dick Kick City? Zap. Zap. Mind blow number 1 and mind blow number 2. See you later, chump. Anyway, I had to head back to Veilstone to grab the TM for Fly, shooing off the Psyducks on Route 210, and then getting back to Pastoria to grab Defog now that I remember where to get it. Normally I don't actually grab this, I just work through Route 215, but it's actually a bit easier to get through with Defog because I can evade more trainers, and remember that Shadow Ball is on this route, giving me a real handy out to the next gym leader. After taking care of the Galactic Grunt in Celestic Town and getting the TM for Surf, I'm able to go into Fantina's gym in Hearthome City, taking out her trainers, well, some of them, then rare candying my Pokemon up to level 36, and taking her on with, you guessed it, Jirachi. So the battle starts off not on the right foot here, seeing as Jirachi's Thunderbolt is unable to one-shot Drifblim, instead of bringing her into the red as Will-O-Wisp plans. This at least doesn't do anything but a little bit of chip damage, leading to her using a Hyper Potion next turn, but since Drifblim's a tank, it doesn't fully heal, letting Jirachi KO with a second Thunderbolt next turn. Second out is Gengar, an easy one-shot with Psychic, leaving just Miss Magius. I made sure to cut Grass Knot for Shadow Ball in this matchup, outspeeding and landing one, but barely missing the KO here, leading to a Confuse Ray. I probably could have stood to slap a Person Berry on Jirachi in prep for this match, but I just clicked A few more times instead, getting through confusion and blasting out a second Shadow Ball to win and take the Relic Badge. 5 down, 3 to go, and boy howdy, now I'm starting to understand why I don't usually use legendary Pokemon in these runs. They are what we call cracked. Before being able to fight Byron for the Mind Badge, though, I have to take on Barry once again, and I'm starting to realize that he's more of an antagonist than he is a friendly rival. Seriously, why is he preventing me from doing stuff? I guarantee you if he wasn't here blocking me in Canalave City, I'd be able to start hitting up towards Snow Point before the bomb at Lake Valor goes off, but I digress. His team is still not fully evolved, so I'm able to wipe Staravia and Buizel off of the map with 1 Thunderbolt each, send Heracross to the Shadow Realm with a Psychic, may as well call it Mind Crush, doing the same to Ponyta with 1 of them, and Grotle with 2 after he wastes a turn with Stealth Rock. Sorry buddy, I do not think you ever have a chance against me again. After a quick walkthrough of the trainers inside of the gym and a few rare candies to boost up my friendos here, it's time to take on Byron, and I've got an interesting tech. See, I replaced Psychic on Jirachi with Stealth Rock. You'll see why shortly. Byron leads off with Bronzor, so I of course leave it Jirachi, setting up Stealth Rock as he goes for Trick Room. My plan with this is just to have a way of getting rid of Sturdy on both Steelix and Bastiodon. I can take those out with my newly evolved Medicham, I just have to get through this Trick Room first. He uses the second term of Trick Room to use Confuse Ray, in which I have a Person Berry ready to negate it as I use Shadow Ball in the hopes of throwing him into healing range, which I barely fail to do so, seeing a second Confuse Ray coming out. That's fine, I just pulled through and used Wish to negate any damage I may take, then going for Thunderbolt next turn after, which is kinda weird because he decides to heal here. I kinda forgot that the AI actually chooses when to heal rather than immediately going for it when it's in range. Kind of a good thing to change in the AI for later trainers, but I digress. I'm able to take it out in 1 more turn, taking out Bronzor with a Shadow Ball on the last turn of Trick Room. This is perfect, though he did get a Sandstorm up, and that's a bit of a pain for everything on my team aside from Jirachi, but I should still be set from here. Second out is Steelix, barely taking any damage from Stealth Rock but losing Sturdy in the process, so I go for the neutral Shadow Ball, doing under half as Earthquake connects for around 75-80% damage. The only Pokemon I have with Levitate is Chimecho, so I swap, fading Earthquake, and landing a Yawn as he goes for Gyro Ball, taking Chimecho down to less than half HP and forcing me to prematurely swap into Medicham. This is fine though, as Medicham is able to take a Gyro Ball, then recovers quite a bit of that HP back with Drain Punch as Steelix goes down, leaving just Bastion on. Stealth Rock takes out his only defense, as Drain Punch nails a quad super effective blow to it to KO and win me the match. Not too often when you see Byron being the most intensive battle in a Sinnoh run thus far, but man, he actually puts up a fight now with Sturdy and Trick Room, essentially giving both Steelix and Bastion on 2 attacks each if you're not careful. Fantastic upgrade from the original. Well, it's finally time for the story to start roping us in. I've got to take out 2 admins before I can go ask Candace the question if Candace Fist fit in your Pokemon's face. Yeah, that was a terrible joke. I really need to get better at these. Anyway, Saturn's up first, and I forgot to give Jirachi Psychic back over Stealth Rock. Now, this is fine, as Saturn starts with Kadabra, which immediately goes down to Shadow Ball. Second out is Toxicroak, though, so I need to just power through, nailing 1 Thunderbolt and 2 Shadow Balls to take it out, but Jirachi does take quite a bit of damage thanks to Thief getting a critical hit on the second attack. But it's really not that big of a deal, as his last Pokemon is Bronzor. Yeah, this thing isn't touching Jirachi, so I stay in and land a Shadow Ball, doing around 75% as he goes for Confuse Ray. Well, better not risk the payback while confused, so I swap for Medicham, taking the predicted payback and going for the KO with Drain Punch, winning the battle. Well, that sure was easy. Let's go rip apart Mars's cat real quick. She leads off with Golbat, and now with Jirachi knowing Psychic again, I go for it, KOing in one shot and leading to Bronzor. Shadow Ball is able to rip right through during around 66% as payback does literally nothing. Guess I was playing around nothing in the last battle, going down to a second Shadow Ball next turn. Last out is the Rescue Fat Cat itself, and even with the Citrus Berry, Psychic is a 2-shot, with her using Aerial Ace as her best move to combat Jirachi. Really should have kept Feint Attack on this thing, it would have made much more sense in comparison to the original games. Not a fantastic upgrade from the original, but I digress. Anyway, it's time to head towards Snow Point, and would you look at that, I forgot to grab Strength. Now that we're back with Strength, I can head up, run through routes 216 and 217 while avoiding as many trainers as possible, and thanks to a new trick we know about in the Snow Point City Gym, I can just trick my way onto Candace's platform thanks to exactly that diagonal movement. Gotta love it. Works here, works in Eterna Forest, works just about everywhere, letting me evade every trainer and letting me just rare candy up to the level cap. How's that for speed? Anyway, she leads off with Snover, setting up the Hail with Snow Warning as I go with Jirachi, one-shotting with Flash Cannon thanks to that super effective damage. Kinda surprised that Grass doesn't actually resist Steel, by the way, leading to Sneasel. The same happens here, Flash Cannon one-shots, leaving half of her team remaining. Third is Medicham, probably the most threatening thing on our team against Jirachi, so I just set up a Wish, taking a Brick Break for around a quarter HP before firing off Shadow Ball, KOing in one attack and nearly gaining back all of Jirachi's lost HP, leaving just a Bomasnow. This thing has Earthquake, so I gotta be careful, but I'm gonna take a calculated risk here. Jirachi can 2-shot with Flash Cannon through Aurora Veil, so if she goes for it, I should still be able to win here. Sure enough, after barely missing the KO with the first Flash Cannon, her Citrus Berry goes off, and she goes for Aurora Veil, giving me that extra turn needed to land the second Flash Cannon, KOing former President Bomasnow, and winning me the second to last badge. Gotta say, being able to skip that puzzle certainly makes my life much easier than it normally would be. Anyway, with the story now holding us by the balls, I'm able to retrieve Barry and Jupiter from Lake Acuity, tell them to go to Veilstone so we can rehearse our parts for the play on Spear Pillar, and get into a little scuffle with Cyrus and Saturn before being able to head there. The first of them is a bit of a joke, as Cyrus is easily handled thanks to Jirachi landing Dazzling Gleam on Murkrow, Psychic on Golbat, and Flash Cannon on Sneasel, taking him out in 3 turns. And Saturn doesn't have much more luck, as his Kadabra falls to Shadow Ball, Toxicroak to Psychic, and 2 Shadow Balls manages to take out Bronzor. Not sure if you got the memo there, bud, but that Bronzor can evolve now. I mean, I'll take the free win, and thank you for not making me deal with a Bronzong, but that's on you. Anyway, Spear Pillar provides no challenges, leading to the double battle between myself and Barry against Jupiter and Mars. This battle actually goes extremely smoothly, as we're able to work as a team, double targeting Jupiter's Bronzor with Shadow Ball and Bite on the first turn to KO, leading to Skuntank. The same happens here as well, as Flash Cannon does good damage, around 45% or so, and thanks to Munchlax getting a bit more with Body Slam, I'm able to take care of Skuntank the next turn after its Citrus Berry activates, KOing with one more Flash Cannon and leaving just Golbat. All the while, Mars is continually using Bronzor's Payback, barely doing anything to Jirachi turn after turn as we turn this fight into a 2-on-1 assault. Jupiter's Golbat falls to one Psychic, eliminating her and leaving just Mars. She finally has the bright idea to go for Confuse Ray on Jirachi once her partner's been eliminated, but my held Person Berry negates it, letting me take it down with a Psychic since it's already so low health from repeated bites from Munchlax, leading into Rescue Fat Cat. Psychic is a clean 2-shot through the Citrus Berry, and since she still doesn't have a Dark-type move for Jirachi, she and Munchlax trade Body Slams, with the latter going down thanks to the poison damage that's been accumulating since Skuntank was on the field. Flash Cannon's able to finish off her ace, leaving just Golbat to fall to Jirachi's Psychic, winning me the fight. Like I said before, that went a lot more smoothly than this double battle normally does, so all that's left to take care of up here before the final 7 main fights in the game is Cyrus. His team is still in shambles in comparison to mine, as Honchkrow falls to 2 of Jirachi's Flash Cannons, with him only using Defog of all things, lowering Jirachi's evasiveness as Gyarados comes in. Unfortunately, I don't currently have Thunderbolt on Jirachi, but that's fine as Psychic is still able to do massive damage, taking it out in 2 shots thanks to a critical, though Jirachi does take quite the chunk of damage from his Earthquake. Not a problem though, as his last 2 Pokemon are chumps in the face of the Wishmaker. Weavile's out third, whose only Dark-type move is Fling, so Flash Cannon's able to whack it twice, KOing and leaving just Crobat to fall to Psychic, taking out Team Galactic for good in this run. It's actually insane how well-versed an offensive Steel Psychic type is in this game. Imagine if Beldum had been available in the Grand Underground. We would have been in a very similar position, though probably would have gotten to this point even faster. With all that taken care of though, let's just jump on ahead to Volkner, as he's the one challenge standing between me and the Pokemon League. His team's still quite wacky, but I should be able to take care of it relatively simply. First up on his lineup is Raichu, immediately Volt switching out into Ambipom as I use Gardevoir in her Calm Mind. Honestly, I fully expected him to go for Nuzzle there, which I had prepared for with a held Cherry Berry, but that's not the case as Ambipom completely slaughters Gardevoir with a simple Fake Out. It doesn't KO, but I'm not in a good position here, as Gardevoir is basically useless for the remainder of this fight, so I swap Jirachi in on the double hit, taking it relatively nicely and doing it again next turn as we blast out Psychic, doing a near one-shot and forcing him into healing range. He goes for the full restore straight away as I set up Wish for the following turn, taking a Thunderbolt next turn as I fire off Flash Cannon in the attempts to KO, but that fails. Now he's set up to use Last Resort, a 130 power physical move that can only be used if you've used all of your other moves on your Pokemon, which is doing relatively decent damage to Jirachi despite being resisted. But that's not enough, as Wish continually heals me, and Psychic takes it out, leaving Jirachi at near full HP as Raichu comes back in. It Volt Switches once again out into Octillery this time, so I just fired off Psychic, doing well over half and outspeeding next turn, but not going straight for the second Psychic. I suspected that he would waste his turn with Focus Energy, which he does, giving me some free healing as Psychic KOs, bringing him down to 2 team members. Raichu comes out for the 3rd time, but it's not quite the charm as Volt Switch comes out once more, leading to Volkner's Ace Luxray. But thanks to Jirachi's Psychic, I'm able to do well over half, popping his Citrus Berry and doing enough to keep him in range of a 2-shot, outspeeding and KOing next turn without it landing a single attack, leaving just this pesky runaway Raichu. It's not much of a problem to take out now as he just uses Surf, so I go for Wish, then Psychic next turn as he uses Surf again, outpacing him with healing and damage, and eventually winning the fight in the Beacon Badge off of a second Psychic landing on Raichu. Well, that was a little bit of a roundabout way to take care of Volkner, but thankfully, the badge quest is over, all that's left is the Pokemon League, and of course, our rival battle right before it. This is where held items are going to start getting crazy, as Barry leads off with a Staraptor with the Focus Sash, so I immediately get rid of it with Thunderbolt as he sets up Sunny Day. Not sure why he decides to go for this instead of an attack, but either way is fine with me, letting Gardevoir KO with the second Thunderbolt as Rapidash comes in second. Oh, well, now I get the sunny day. Flame Charge is a bit of a threat in the sun, but due to my sheer level advantage, Psychic one-shots it immediately, leading to Torterra third. I'm not confident in Gardevoir's ability to take a Wood Hammer or an Earthquake, so I swap into Jirachi. But that was definitely the wrong play. I wasn't punished due to him using Stealth Rock, so I swapped into Chimecho expecting Earthquake this time, but instead getting Roar, being forced out into Kadabra. I know this thing isn't coming with me into the league, so I just got some damage off with Psychic, doing around half and going down to Wood Hammer, getting this thing under half thanks to that recoil damage. Thank you for your service, Kadabra, you will probably not be missed. I brought back Gardevoir, grabbing the KO with another Psychic as an equally tanky Snorlax takes the field. I really don't want to leave Gardevoir in here, but upon some thought, I just stayed in, going for Psychic and lowering his special defense as a Yawn comes through. Thankfully, that stat drop gives me the perfect amount of damage necessary to grab a 2-shot here, KOing Snorlax, but also putting Gardevoir out of commission for the time being, as she's now asleep upon Floatzel coming in. I figured I'd swap into Jirachi here, as the only threatening attack coming from him is Crunch, which only does around a fourth, but thanks to his Quick Claw propping, I'm able to get hit twice by it before falling it with a single Psychic, leaving just Heracross. This fast, but due to the sheer level difference once again, Jirachi is able to pick up that last KO with Psychic, winning me the last fight before the league. So there's a little bit of prep that needs to be done now that we've lost Kadabra and we need to fill in that space. Replacing Kadabra is absolutely going to be Bronzong. It's basically here to just act as a wall, using the held Light Clay that I found in Mount Coronet to boost up the turns afforded by dual screens, effectively making sweeps much easier to pull off thanks to Calm Mind and Gardevoir. I nicknamed it Dystopia, as it's the signal of impending doom by means of paving the way for a sweeper. I'm able to EV train it in both defenses, giving some points to HP as well, and leveling it off of a ton of rare candies. Thank you, item duplication glitch. Your existence has saved me at least 6 hours of in-game time. Anyway, leave your final predictions below, guessing if I can win or not, and if you think I'm going to win, how many losses do you expect from the team? Let's take them down. First up is Aaron, probably the most threatening of the Elite Four members due to his type effectiveness with both his bug types and his Poison Dark Drapion, so I'll need to remain vigilant. I lead off here with Bronzong, setting up dual screens with Light Clay against his Dustox as he sets up his own light screen, but goes for Bug Buzz, letting me use Hypnosis eventually to put this bugger to sleep. I need a clean swap into Gardevoir, which I'm able to get upon landing the second Hypnosis, and from here I'm able to use 2 Calm Minds, KOing Dustox with Psychic as Beautifly takes center stage. Bug Flying means that Beautifly does not play nicely with Thunderbolt, going down immediately as Heracross comes out third. Thanks to the power of love, Earthquake misses, giving me a great opening to one-shot with Psychic, leaving his last non-ace in Vespiquen to come out. Thunderbolt's not even able to one-shot despite being a +2 thanks to Calm Mind, but oddly enough, Vespiquen uses Defend Order here, doing basically nothing and giving me this KO for free with a second Thunderbolt, leaving just Drapion. Now, if Heracross's Earthquake had hit, or if Vespiquen had attacked at all, I would 1000% be swapping here for Bronzong, setting up Reflect, then going into Chimecho to use Yawn and ensure that I can take this thing down with 2 of Gardevoir's Dazzling Gleams upon re-entry. But due to the fortunate circumstances, I don't have to play around anything, immediately going for the Dazzling Gleam with +2 attack, taking a cross poison that does massive damage, but I'm able to pick up the KO anyway, and the win. 1 down, 4 to go. Between fights, I taught Jirachi the TM for Grass Knot, as this should be able to help immensely against Bertha and her plethora of quad-weak Mons that'll be taken care of today. First up is Quagsire, and sure enough, Jirachi's able to one-shot it with Grass Knot, leading to Golem. It has Sturdy, so Grass Knot's unable to cut it down all the way, but that doesn't mean that Jirachi's not taking a beating thanks to a hefty Earthquake, doing nearly 80% of Jirachi's max HP as a second Grass Knot finishes it off. 3 more to go, and Sudowoodo's the perfect Pokemon to heal against, as I'm using some good old-fashioned Resto-Chesto strats here, using Rest as she goes for Sucker Punch and healing fully before committing into an attack. She goes for another Sucker Punch, but Jirachi's able to dodge thanks to the power of love, one-shotting with Flash Cannon as her last Water Ground type and Whiscash takes the stand. Grass Knot only does around a third, but that's sheerly due to her Rindo Berry. Though Bulldoze does some decent damage and lowers my speed, a simple second Grass Knot is plenty enough to KO, taking out Whiscash and leaving just Hippowdon. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here, though. This Hippo's too heavy to withstand a Grass Knot that's hitting at 120 power, KOing immediately, and winning me the match. No losses in the league so far. I hope that I haven't lost anything, since this is only the first 2 members, but the next 3 might be even harder than I anticipated. Flint is kind of a difficult nut to crack, but I know I'm giving Jirachi back Psychic over Grass Knot, as Infernape is a threat that I need to make sure goes down in this battle ASAP, as his Drifblim with Baton Pass combo into +6 minimize into Infernape being able to sweep the entire team is not necessarily something I want to deal with. I also gave Jirachi another Chesto Berry here, and honestly this should be all the prep I need. Flint leads off with a Rapidash, and thanks to that Hypnosis he has, I go with Jirachi despite the type disadvantage, firing off a Psychic and outspeeding before he goes for Flame Charge. I'm curious as to whether or not he outspeeds here with the +1, and yeah, it's able to put him over the edge, doing another third of Jirachi's HP with a second Flame Charge, as a second Psychic KOs, leading to Steelix. There's no way I'm leaving Jirachi out here, and the likely moves that are going to come out of here are either Crunch or Fire Fang. If it's the latter, my heat-proof Bronzong should do the trick, but the bulk in and of itself should be enough to hold back Crunch. Fortunately, it does just over half, giving me plenty enough room to outspeed with Bronzong, I know, shocking right, in order to set up Reflect as a second Crunch takes Bronzong down to just 18 HP. From here I can safely swap Medicham in, taking a Crunch for minimal damage as Drain Punch does well over half, and from here it's simply a formality, as a second Drain Punch picks up the KO, leading to Lopunny, who also immediately faints to the power of the Draining Fist. This puts Medicham at full HP going into Drifblim, but boy, this is not a Pokemon that I want to be in on, with a Pokemon that basically can't take care of it, so I swap into Chimecho. The faster I can either put this thing to sleep with Yawn, or bait out Infernape with a threatened Yawn putting it to sleep, is probably best. And sure enough, after he uses a single Minimize, he does go for Baton Pass on the turn before Yawn would activate, giving the +2 evasiveness to Infernape. But that's not enough. Despite the first Psychic missing, the second from Chimecho was easily able to land, taking him down to the Focus Sash and giving me ample opportunity to swap into a fresh Pokemon, choosing Gardevoir and going for Psychic after the turn he heals, leaving just Drifblim after it goes down. Thankfully, this Drifblim only has Unburden instead of Aftermath, so there's no risk for me to attack and KO with Thunderbolt, finishing off the third lead member with a decently complex fight. He made me have to think on my feet a little bit there, which is much appreciated, especially this deep into the game. Second to last is Lucian, and I'm not even going to kid around with you guys. We're done with the run. Bronzong's able to lead here, set up Light Screen with Light Clay, and let me swap into Gardevoir on Mr. Mime, whose only attacking moves are Dazzling Gleam and Psychic, which Gardevoir resists both. I'm able to get to +6 with Calm Mind, and thanks to Thunderbolt being further boosted by the Zap Plate, I'm able to one-shot Mr. Mime, Girafarig, Medicham, Alakazam, though it does outspeed and threaten me with Nasty Plot, not like it matters with +6 special defense, and even the extremely tanky Bronzong, winning me the fight. The same basically occurs with Cynthia, as Spiritomb is a little bit more sacky to set up on, but is still completely fine. See, I can lead with Chimecho. Since this thing also gets both screens, I moved the Light Clay over on it, using Yawn and then Light Screen as my setup as Spiritomb takes it out into Shadow Balls, falling asleep upon Gardevoir coming in and giving me free reign to set up all 6 Calm Minds required to sweep. I also figured I'd keep on clicking Calm Mind until she ran out of Sucker Punches, since after all, why take needless damage, since Lord knows we're going to have to still take care of Garchomp at the end. After these boosts, I'm able to one-shot Spiritomb with Dazzling Gleam, leading to Roserade, who still does outspeed Gardevoir and nail his super effective Sludge Bomb, but it only does around a third, though it also does poison. This puts a bit of a damper on my plans, but I should be fine, as Psychic one-shots it, leading to Gastrodon. Gardevoir outspeeds here, this time destroying it with a single Psychic as Lucario takes the field fourth. It's another Pokemon that outspeeds Gardevoir and has a super effective but special attacking move in Flash Cannon, and because of +6 special defense thanks to Calm Mind, what is she supposed to do? Gardevoir survives on 30 HP, KOing with Psychic and kicking off the poison due to the power of love, with Milotic coming in 5th, which immediately gets outsped and zapped by Thunderbolt, leaving just Garchomp. I know this thing outspeeds, so I just click Dazzling Gleam expecting to sack Gardevoir here, but hilariously enough, the power of love once again comes in clutch, allowing Gardevoir to avoid Poison Jab and nail a +6 Dazzling Gleam for the quick KO in the win. Now, in case people are worried that I just sacked the champion and have no reason of winning here, I did have a strategy developed for Cynthia. I expected Gardevoir to go down here, which then I would go into Bronzong, set up Reflect, then attempt Hypnosis and either go down to Earthquake or land it while she wastes time with Swords Dance, swap for Jirachi, and nail it with Dazzling Gleam for a one-shot. But none of that was fortunately needed. We've completed yet another Monotype Hardcore Nuzlocke of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what games and types you'd like me to do next, preferably of types that haven't been done before in certain games, and I'll see you in the next video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I want to give a huge shout out to my $10 and above patrons: Justin Dimmenstein, Heimflow, Sean McKay, Alexander Abday, Aiden Brannon, Andy, Casper Kirkpatrick, Jacob Johnson, Kyle Campbell, and Zeno. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys like to support as well, you can head over to my Patreon page, link in the description, where you can get access to stuff like videos early, an exclusive role in my Discord server, link also in the description, challenge requests, and much more. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.